So just setting up here. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm live on YouTube and Facebook. Just waiting for people to turn up. No one's here yet. What time is it? Very weird time for me to be on here. Hello. Just waiting for people to turn up. While we're waiting, I'd love to know where you're from. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. So where are you from? Okay. Laura Lamb. That's a pretty name. Laura Lamb. I wish I could tell you guys this name of one of my clients. It's just one of those names you think is just so beautiful. It's like something you'd read in a book. Okay. Perth, Australia. Excellent. Never made it over there. Lived in Australia for about 20 years, but on the East Coast. Never made it over to Perth. So where are you from? I don't know how many people I'm going to get tonight. It's just been the weirdest week. And Silicon Valley. Hello, Outcome Agent. That's a funny name, Outcome Agent. Okay. So it's interesting because on Facebook, I tend to get people's real names, obviously. But then when you get to Instagram, it gets a little bit different. And by TikTok, it's all over the place. Maryland. Hello, Jessica. So I'm just waiting for people to turn up. It's just been the weirdest week, you know, because of the holidays. And it's weird because the holidays were in the middle of the week. So then you had a weekend, then you had the holiday. It was just so all over the place. So I'm glad it's all over. Now we can just relax and get back to normal. Slovakia. Hello, Blanca. I hope I said that right. Thank you for doing these. My son Ash likes your videos. Excellent. Now, is your son a parent or is your son a child? Anyway, okay, so we can get going. We've got enough people here. So I'll just introduce myself. I'm out of practice. I haven't been doing very many of these lately because of the holidays. It's all been so weird. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. My name's Lisa, and I'm a parenting coach, and I'm also a mom and a grandmother. If you go to my website, BratBusters.com, you can see a whole bunch of more stuff. We've got a podcast. We've got personal coaching one-on-one with me. There is a wait list for that if you're interested, or you can get our courses. I've got 2 courses, one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds. And then also the free behavior board. That's completely free. It's like a mini course, and it has a toddler section on there too. A child. Oh, okay, that's cute. Okay, let me see. Yeah, I'm all discombobulated. I'm just going to get my notes up. I didn't even get my notes up. I have notes for my lives, you know, stuff I want to remember. Anyway, okay, so let's get going with your questions. I think I already had one. It's from Becky. Bedtime routine suggestions, night lights, reading book. There's 2 parts in a bedtime routine. One is the actual routine, like beforehand, and then the other one is how to keep them in bed. So how to get them in bed, then how to keep them there, basically. So yeah, but just have a cutoff. Say at 8, lights go out, and that's it. So, but then having the routine, read a book, whatever, have a bath, get dressed, and all that. And then once they go to bed, you know, then that's another thing. If they get out of bed, you just keep putting them back to bed. It's a whole system. You might want to check that out in my courses. And I've talked about that in a lot of other videos too, if you want to know more. Anyway, okay. So what else? Oh, by the way, I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. Mine was good. And my granddaughter just turned 1. So that's exciting. We're going to her party over the weekend. So yeah, we had lots to celebrate this year. Got a brand new little person in our lives. So that's really nice. And I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. Mad love from New Zealand. I'm going to be first-time dad real soon and love taking notes. Keep shining. That's cute. We used to ski in Queenstown, New Zealand, because we lived in Brisbane, Australia. So it was gorgeous down there. God, I love Queenstown. Something came up on one of my feeds, and it was a shot of like a hot from the sky, you know, like whatever. And it was of Queenstown. And it's just the neatest little town or city. Is it even a city? But anyway, I just love Queenstown. Colorado. Hi, Rose. I had an aunt named Rose. Should it stay dark versus nightlight? Oh, I see. Okay. It doesn't matter. Some kids like whatever the kids want. So, if they like a noise machine or if they like the galaxy light, stuff like that, it doesn't really matter. I still to this day, I like to fall asleep with a bright screen on. I always have, even when I was little. But when I was a kid, I didn't do that because I went to my room and I went to bed. But yeah, I always like falling. Like I always find a screen really comforting. I'm not saying your kids should watch screens, but that's a bright light. So some kids don't get affected by that at all. To me, it was comforting. So, but I didn't have night lights. It's funny. Growing up, I didn't have night lights. I guess I never even thought about it. So yeah, it's whatever's soothing to the kid. They're all different, by the way. Some of them love noise machines. Others don't. Some of them like the galaxy lights. Others don't. So find what works for your kid. I feel like I was going to talk about something, but I can't remember what it was. So I thought, I'll mention this on the live tonight. And of course, I have no memory of what I was thinking. Okay. My room has to be completely dark. My kids are the same way. Yeah. We're all different. I have a hard time falling asleep in the dark. I need that screen on, whether it's a TV or I might have my phone. I hate it when I've got my phone and I fall asleep with my phone because I'll often wake up with it on my face. One sibling deliberately trying to get the other siblings to break their behavior board rule, then laugh when they do. Yeah, then I would punish that kid. Say, I know what you were doing. And then you're going to get a consequence for doing that, for trying to get your siblings in trouble. But it's not on the board. Oh, well, you'll know next time, won't you? I would do that. Yeah. Oh, well, you'll know next time. It's called the surprise attack. Sleepwalking. No, God, that scares the bejeebies out of me. Someone asked about sleepwalking on YouTube. I don't know anything about it. It's sort of, I don't think it's a medical issue, but it's not in my, I don't know anything about it. It scares the heck out of me though. Yeah. Where are they going to sleepwalk to, right? So yeah, I don't know anything about it. I did know someone, I eat in my sleep and my daughter does too. But I have known a lot of people who talk in their sleep. I woke up talking to myself once. So yeah, I obviously sometimes talk in my sleep, but sleepwalking, I actually have known a couple people in my life who did it. And yeah, they'll end up brushing their teeth in the kitchen with a fork or something. They just do the weirdest things. So yeah, I don't have any advice. I have a question. We are deep in it. Oh, we are deep in it, about to have 3 under 3. Yikes. What do we do if my toddler just screams nonstop to get our attention when talking, and we recently have new neighbors below and have been trying to get him to stop romping, but it seems to make it worse? I would suggest checking out the boot camp course, or at least the behavior board, because I don't know what's going on in your house, and you're in an apartment, so it's a little bit trickier. And you're going to have another couple. So it might be nice to have that, get the 3 to 12-year-old boot camp if you're interested, or if you just want free, get the behavior board and start there and say no jumping in the apartment. I would start there. Screaming's harder to deal with, but jumping is an action. It's physical. Okay. One of my kids tried to get out of the house once. Yeah, sleepwalking. Yeah, that's why it's so frightening. That's why I've heard of people, and I can't really talk about this because it's a safety issue and it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like my hands are kind of tied, but I have known people who have put locks that you need a key to get out of the house. The problem with that is it can be dangerous if there's a fire or something. They worry about that. So, but yeah, I've known people who've had to do stuff like that with even adults who sleepwalk because they might go out on a balcony or something, Okay, this is such a good question. What would you do? It comes up a lot, actually. What would you do for bad behavior on vacation when you don't have a behavior board and you don't have any chores? You know what I mean? What you do is you delay the fun. So you say to them, okay, so that was bad. You know that. You did something bad. There's nothing wrong with calling their actions bad. You don't call a kid bad, but say, yeah, you know that was bad. You shouldn't have done that. So I'll tell you what. We were going to leave for Disneyland at 9. Now, because you did that, we're not going to leave till 9:30. You were never going to leave till 9:30 anyway, but they don't know that. So yeah, you delay the fun and you take away time at the start, not at the end. You don't take them home early because then you're going to have one hell of a night, right? You just delay it at the start. And if you have multiple kids, try and have the other parent take the other kids somewhere first. They get a bit of a head start. So yeah, you delay the fun. There's usually something on a holiday that kids are looking forward to. Just delay it for a half hour, an hour, or whatever. Parenting while ill. Do you follow the meet the needs and wants rule if the child is well, but the parent totally out of commission? Oh, that's you can do what you got to do. If you're sick and you do what you got to do. Break all the rules if you have to. Keep them alive. Keep everyone safe and healthy. You got to do what needs to be done. So you got to look after yourself. Yeah, just forget about it. If you're not well, forget about it. Just say, I'm sick. I won't be parenting this week. I'll just be meeting basic needs and just do what you got to do. My daughter, 4, has no problem going to bed at night and staying in bed at night. We co-sleep. Yeah, I knew you were going to go here. I hate this one. However, she is often up at 5 a.m. and wakes me up. Okay, to wake clock didn't help. Okay, there's that clock where there's it turns green or something when you're allowed to get out of bed. So that didn't help. She's 4. She doesn't understand time. Well, then you didn't have a clock that she could understand. There is a wake clock. I don't know what it's called actually, but there's this clock you can get and it shows the sun. When the sun comes on the clock, then they can get up. So you can do that. Also, she's 4. Maybe she's having a nap still and she doesn't need one. So I'm suggesting she's probably already had enough sleep. That's possible too. So I would maybe put her to bed a bit later or eliminate a nap or at least minimize the nap during the day if she's still having one. Both my kids stopped regular naps at 1-year-old. They just didn't need a lot of sleep. So they don't all need naps. Someone said, I learn something every time I listen to you. So do I, because I'm, learning from you guys when you're asking questions. So that's what this is all about. Discovering stuff. Okay, I want my 12-year-old to have good grades at school, but she doesn't care and fails some classes. Any advice? Yeah, I would say you want her to have good grades. You just want her to, okay. Oh, you're asking me about education here. Yeah, I could go on about that one a little bit because what is it that important that she gets good grades or just passes? She's 12 years old. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to answer that one because there's a whole bunch of questions I want to ask. And why is she failing? If she's failing, I would get a tutor or I would have incentive programs. I'd set up systems where she has to do a certain amount of homework every night. If she wants to, and I would make her earn screen time by doing homework, but she doesn't have to do it great. Maybe you're putting too much pressure on her. So she figures if she can't get good grades, she means we'll get no grades. I don't know. I have a whole bunch of questions I'd want to ask around that one. One thing that was sort of making me stop too was a lot of parents expect too much from their kids. Well, it's really important to me that they learn the piano, that they learn the violin, that they get perfect grades, that they're an athlete. You got to sort of balance out what's best for them too. So maybe she is struggling more in school. A lot of really successful people in adulthood didn't go to college and they didn't do good in school. It's not necessarily an indication of how well they'll do later on. So don't worry too much about it. I would want my kids to pass though. So C's are better, no D's. Oh, I see. Okay. She used to do awesome at school and now is distracted by friends. Oh, that's where I'd get up a system, get a study system or a homework system in place and just make her earn screen time. And don't make it look like it's a punishment. Just say, we got to get organized. We want you to pass stuff. So here's what we've decided to do. Okay. And then let her fight. Everyone wants to avoid the storm. The storms are the lessons, the fits, spits, meltdowns, tantrums, scenes. Those are the lessons. When they have those scenes, after you've laid down the law or laid out a system or laid out a behavior board, whatever, a consequence, that is the lesson. That is them processing, wait a minute, I'm no longer in charge. I'm going to kick and scream a little bit, but they're starting to learn that now you're in charge. You're the leader, right? Oh, interesting, from Tabitha. I won't read out the first part. It's kind of embarrassing. It's a compliment. Oh, heck, I'll read it. No, I won't. Anyway, she said, love your last podcast on whiny kids. One of my clients today said that was her favorite podcast ever. And I asked her why. I said, what was it that you liked about it so that we can, do more of that? She said she liked it because I gave examples of what's happening, and then I gave direct answers to exactly what you say and do and how you do it. So that's what she said she liked. So yeah, that was a big one. Did very well. My daughter organizes all that. I never look at stats or anything. She does all that. But yeah, whining was a good one. Actually, I'm going to look that up right now and see if I can figure out how to look it up. Sugar. I don't even know how to sign into anything. It asked for my fingerprint. Okay, there we go. Yeah, the whining one did very well. It's funny because this is a podcast. It's a BratBusters parenting podcast. Oh yeah, it did well. Oh, really well. Yeah, I don't know why that one was so popular. I guess a lot of kids whine. Obviously. Interesting. Okay, Tabitha, I'm due very soon with my second child, and I have a 19-month-old toddler. Just any advice, please. I know it's your favorite topic, LOL. It's because it's physical. It's just chaos. There's not much I can help you with. It's just physically demanding. That's all. I would say get ready. I don't know. All kids are different. Maybe your 19-month-old will be really easy. I don't know, but get ready for some physically exhausting times. They'll be up throughout the night. You're going to be with a new baby. You're going to be tired. Then you got a toddler who wants to play. And it's just a physically exhausting time having little ones. Sometimes I'll get people who say to me, how do I keep my 18-month-old quiet in church and to sit all through a church service? And I'm like, gee, I wouldn't have a clue. They're not all there yet. They're just sort of forming. And, but yeah, it's just going to be physically draining. That's all. But it goes so fast. It just flies by. As a teacher, it's so frustrating to deal with parents who passively excuse students' behaviors. Appreciate it. Oh, I knew you were going to like that one. Appreciated your podcast on parents taking responsibility. Years and years ago, I used to have a column in the newspaper here. It's like a Dear Abby for parents. And I wrote a very controversial column, and it was just, no one even asked me about it. I just decided to write this one. And it was, the title was Stop Expecting Schools to Parent. And I got a lot of hate for that one. Parents hated me. And it was at the height of this please your parent style coming in. It was really trending at the time. And I hate all that. It's just garbage, right? All that please your parent garbage. And because it doesn't work. That's why people are coming to me now, because they're trying to repair the damage that did. Anyway. So I wrote that. Well, what was funny is I got all these emails from principals and teachers all over North America. They had pinned that up. They printed it out and put it up on their bulletin board in their staff room. They said there's no way they'd put it out in the hallway where a parent could see it, or else they'd get sued probably. But yeah, they loved it. Stop expecting schools to parent. There was I hear this stuff all the time. Bullying, such a problem. It's, what are the schools going to do about it? This is a problem. That kids don't know anything about drugs. Kids aren't responsible. What are the schools going to do about this? I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Those are all parenting jobs. Why are parents absolved of all responsibility so often in media? Why is that? It's just stupid. It's so stupid. I can't believe it. What's the schools going to do? What's the school going to do about that? Oh, for God's sake. That's why teachers are bailing right, left, and center. It's all these ill-behaved children going to school, and the parents and everyone blaming them for the kids' bad behavior. It's your responsibility as a parent to send nice kids to school. Okay? That is your responsibility, to send respectful children to school so teachers can do their job. Their job is not to raise your children. Their job is to teach your children. They're teachers. They're not parents. Manners are up to you. It's your responsibility. And that's why you're here watching me. You want to take responsibility, right? So that's my audience. The ones who don't want to take responsibility, the pleaser parents, they bailed ship on me years ago. They'll never watch me. And that's fine. They're never going to listen to me anyway. Parenting kids with trauma. Don't want to read that word. I might get any background differently. Yes. Absolutely. That's coaching. I would need to know what's happened, and then we definitely go. We make some sort of exceptions for that. Yep, depending on what it is. But that would be coaching. I can't discuss that here. You want some of the consequences? Well, it's always just do a chore within 15 minutes of being asked to do so. It has to be a time frame. The chore should only take about 2 minutes, but you give them 15 minutes to do it. And you say, okay, so you broke the rule. So here's your consequence. I'm going to get you to unload the dishwasher, or she can just clean out a bathroom sink. She could pick up 10 toys in 10 minutes, whatever. Just do a chore. Don't get caught up in what the consequence is. Too many parents do that as if that's the answer. It's not. It's not what the consequence is. It's the fact that you follow through with it. So you say, okay, so you've got 15 minutes and that starts now. And all you are is a timekeeper. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And you're just timekeeping, just waiting. And then beep, beep, time's up. Okay, let me see. Okay, the chore wasn't done. Let's go to the board. Okay, so you broke the, see how I'm talking? This is how I do it. So let me see now. So you broke the rule, right? Okay, and then there's a consequence. So the consequence was do a chore within 15 minutes of being asked to do so. And that didn't happen. So 24-hour media blackout starts now. Do you understand? That's when you look at them and do you understand? And you go like that. Be very careful. Don't look angry. Do you understand? And you're nodding. In other words, I know what I'm doing. I'm following through. It's your body language, your tone of voice, your facial expressions are everything. Why does my hat look so gorky today? Anyway. Yeah, parents get really caught up in what the consequence is. You're missing the point with this. It's not the consequence. It's the follow through. It's the consistency. It's your calmness. Your calmness is more important than anything when you're disciplining. You're calm during the storms and you're crazy during the rainbows. So you're calm when you're disciplining and you're crazy when you're having fun with your kids and goofing around with them. Okay? Yep. Follow through is key with anything I've learned from you. Say what you mean and mean what you say. It works so well in staying calm. You can't fight with a calm person. Yeah, I just keyed that, or pin. What's that called? What's that called? Keyed that phrase, pinned that phrase, something. Anyway, I just came up with this the other day, and a lot of parents liked it. I always come up with these sayings I think are great because one parent will go, oh my God, that made all the difference. And then it doesn't matter to anyone else. This one, everyone likes this one. You can't fight with a calm, loving person forever. If you're calm and loving with your children, they can't fight with you forever. They will eventually give in. So yeah, you can't fight with a calm, loving person forever, but they'll try initially. They're going to test you. They're going to get worse before they get better. Because they're like, I remember the old you. I remember when I used to make you mad. I remember when I was in control. I'm going to keep that control. So they will get worse before they get better. That's all part of it. The thing is, it's short-term pain for long-term gain. A lot of parents do short-term gain for long-term pain. You know, they give in too much. They negotiate too much with little kids. Well, you don't want to wear that. Do you want to wear this? And if you do that, will you let, it's all this weak stuff. When it's something that has to be done, just make it happen. Or there's a consequence. Okay. Okay, can you regain leadership after losing ground, respect for years? Please encourage me. Oh, absolutely. But it's work. You got to earn this respect. You got to work for it. It's hard work, but it's worth it. Yes, of course you can. I specialize in troubled teenagers. Imagine what we have to work on then. It's doable. It's the older they are, the more work it is. But depending on, where they're at. But if your relationship is like what I call red zone, it's a lot of work, but it can always be done. What happens if you give the child, 3-year-old, a consequence and they don't do it? You don't make them do it. You got to check out my free behavior board. It's completely free. There's 2 consequences for the kids. The first one is the positive action. If they won't do that, then you go right to the negative deprivation. Okay, you didn't empty the dishwasher. Okay, so let me see now. Oh, right, 24-hour media blackout starts now. They're 3, they might not understand. You might just say, oh, no iPad tonight. If they get iPad every night, no iPad tonight because you didn't do that consequence. I'll do it now. It's too late. Even if they run and do it, it's too late. The timer is gone. It's over. And you don't remind them, although they're 3, you might say 10 more minutes, 5 more minutes. And then beep, beep. Okay, no iPad tonight. Do you understand? You see, calm. It's going to happen. I sort of treat it like if a kid questioned me, I'd probably look like this. That was your choice. 3-year-old wouldn't understand that. But as they get older and they go, not fair enough. Behavior board, that was your choice. I didn't understand. I forgot. Well, you'll know next time, won't you? Don't get pulled into explaining yourself. The more you explain, the more they complain. When you start, once you've already done it, you've explained, here's the rule, the consequence, and here's the consequence. That's all you have to do. After that, any explaining makes you look weak. Well, you see, remember we went through all this, and I would say something like, well, you'll know next time, won't you? Or you'll learn as we go. That you've already explained it. If they chose not to listen, it's on them. Why are you getting pulled into this stuff all the time? They're little tiny people manipulating the crap out of you. And someone said, I don't know anyone else who teaches parenting. I'm very careful about that. I literally know nobody else. People will say, well, do you know someone? No, never heard of them. And they're like, really? Well, if you don't look them up, right? And if anyone sends me anything that has another parenting expert, I just don't even look. The reason is that, well, it's not going to serve me in any way. Why would it? And also, I don't want to insult anybody. So if I'm ever criticizing anything, I'm not criticizing anyone. Okay. I'm very careful about that. But yeah, I forgot. I lost my train of thought. Never mind. Okay. So if they respect, such a good question. Eva? Well, hi there. So if they respect me as a leader, what about others? When they have a leader that they respect, they develop that personality that they have with the leader. It bleeds out into every other relationship. When they have a leader, it changes who they are. You bring out the best in them, and that will eventually become who they are with everybody. Okay. My son was in grade 2, and the teacher called me on her lunch hour. She thought this was so cute. She goes, Lisa, you won't believe what your son said. She said to him in grade 2, why are you so nice? And he looked up at her and he says, Mommy makes us be nice. Darn rights. That was my job. So yeah, but they were happy kids because they were nice. You can't be mean and disrespectful and like yourself. It's impossible. If a kid is being disrespectful and mean, they have very low self-esteem. Guaranteed. Think about it. If you've ever been mean to anyone, how do you feel about yourself? Oh, you feel like you want to puke, right? Or maybe not. Maybe mean is your go-to personality. But yeah, I would feel like I'd want to puke. So yeah, it just doesn't feel good to be mean. It's not a good feeling. So you're not doing your kids any favor by allowing them to be mean or disrespectful. So yeah, their personality will develop under your leadership, and they'll be like that with everybody. What about with others that they can get away with things? Oh, well, once you're a leader, they would say, Mommy wouldn't like that. That's what my kids would have said. If someone tried to offer something that they knew I wouldn't want them to have, they would have said, no, Mommy wouldn't like that. Right? That's what leadership is. You bring out the best in them, and they're like that everywhere they go. They don't try and get away with stuff because they tell you everything. You're that safe place to land. You're that one that makes them like themselves the most. I worked with I used to specialize in, well, I still do, troubled teenagers. And one of them said to me, he says, I didn't like myself until I met you, Lisa. What a compliment. That was my goal. My goal was never, like, I was a mentor to kids. I've kind of mothered them one-on-one, all volunteer. And because I just loved doing it. And they were the ones, the teenagers were the ones who said, you got to teach this stuff, Lisa. So, and then I kind of ignored that for years, and now I do it. But anyway, it's funny. I turned my passion into a career. Interesting, eh? So something I was doing for decades for free, and now I made it a career. Interesting. So anyway, but yeah, your goal is not that they like you or they're impressed with you. Your goal is that they like themselves and they impress themselves. You get it? Your goal is their self-esteem. By the way, when you make them feel great about themselves, they feel great about you too, because you're the source of that self-esteem, high self-esteem. You see? It's just okay. Okay, good. I should probably tell this to my daughter. She does all this stuff. I think it would be great if you made a section in your boot camp where parents can put their ideas for positive actions and negative deprivations that they use that worked. Ones that are reviewed by you and agree with. There's a lot of stuff in there. If you look in there, I've got a lot of videos in that, and everything that I think's pertinent that I hear goes in there. Sometimes it's hard to be creative, so seeing what others have used can stimulate new ideas. Yeah, that's true. Those courses are built on my almost 20 years of coaching. So it's all what's come from parents anyway. So yeah, but we can't put everything in. But so creative ideas. Well, I'll write that down. I'll talk to my daughter about it. Boot camp, creative. Some of my clients come up with some really amazing ideas. I'll tell you a really cute idea. This is if you have a huge family. I had this client a while back, and I'm very careful. I have to get permission before I tell stories, but I did get permission for this one. They had a bunch of kids. And so I said, in one of our sessions, I said, what about sharing? They didn't bring up sharing. They never even mentioned it. And I thought, well, what about sharing? And I'm expecting to go into the whole session was going to be about sharing because they had tons of kids. And they said, oh, no, that's no problem. I'm like, what? And they said, no, what we do is when it's a kid's birthday or Christmas, that whenever they get a gift, if it's theirs for 1 week or until they get bored with it. And then it's everybody's. They have never had a problem with sharing ever. Is that brilliant? I thought that was so cute. Okay. Coined a saying. Oh, thank you. Coined a saying. Right. Yeah, coined a phrase. That's it. That's what I was trying to come up with anyway. Yeah, that phrase I coined was you can't fight a calm, loving person forever. If you're a calm, loving parent, they can't fight you forever. They just can't. It's impossible. They might do it for a while. Teenagers might do it for a few more months, but eventually they'll give in. And then Tabitha also said, you made me a better parent and person because I'm calmer. It's harder when I'm at the end of pregnancy as I think the hormones are nuts. Yeah, hormones are crazy. I remember that. Okay, I'm going to go over to Instagram now if you want to join me over there, and I stay on YouTube the whole time. By the way, check out our podcast. It's been going now for about 2 or 3 months. My daughter and I do it together. I teach parenting, and I'm doing a podcast with my daughter. She's my business partner. So, you can check that out or look at all my courses, my free behavior board, or my coaching. It's all at BratBusters.com. So happy parenting, and I'm going over to Instagram now. Bye now. Whoops. I get button happy and push buttons too quickly. Come on. There we go. Okay. I'm really tired after the holidays. I don't know about you, but they wear me out. I didn't even do that much. I didn't do any hosting. My kids are grown now, so it's on them. Okay. There we go. The Instagram, everyone turns up all in one clump. It's just the weirdest thing. Doesn't happen anywhere else. Okay. Welcome or welcome back. So I'm just reading your names here. Yeah, still hungover from your glass of wine last week. Yeah, good. You got a good memory, Tabitha. I had a glass of wine, not last weekend, but the weekend before. And I'm just not a drinker. I'm no good at it. I'll get like a 2-day hangover. I never feel sick or anything. I feel nauseous a little bit, but I never throw up or anything. But yeah, I'm not good with alcohol at all because I hardly ever have it. Okay. Oh, God, you're going to hate me. 4-year-old only wants nuggets. Stop giving them nuggets. They'll go on to something else, okay? It's like saying my 4-year-old only wants cigarettes. Stop giving them the bad stuff, and they'll eventually not have it. I mean, they just won't. How can they have it? You have control over what comes into your house, and just don't buy fast food when you're out. So, okay. I love and miss you, Lisa. Oh, that's cute. I'm going to see that picture. Oh, I can't see it. You're too little. I wonder who that is. I am. You're not I am, are you? The original I am? But you've changed your name. Oh, maybe you're I am on TikTok. Is that right? Okay, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I haven't been doing a lot of lives lately because it's a long story. Anyway, I'm just going to introduce myself just in case I get some new people in here. If you're new, welcome. If not, welcome back. My name is Lisa Bunnage. I'm a parenting coach, a mom, and I'm also a grandmother. If you check out BratBusters.com or the link above somewhere up here, you can see my free behavior board. It's sort of like a mini course. It's completely free, and it also has a toddler section now. Or you can look at my boot camp courses. I have 2 of them, one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds. And also you can look into coaching. I have a wait list for coaching. That's one-on-one with me, but yeah, we'll get to eventually. And what else do we have? Oh yeah, our podcast. My daughter and I do a podcast together. It's doing remarkably well. And that's why I'm not doing as many lives anymore. The podcast has sort of taken over. We're putting our time and energy into where you're going. And more people are flocking to that podcast than the lives now. So that's why we're putting, because you can't do everything, right? We're really busy. I spend most of my days coaching. That's what I do. I don't need to coach anymore, but I freaking love it. It's my favorite thing in my business. I just love it. Sometimes I'm dreading doing a coaching session because I'm tired. I've got other things to do. The second that parent turns up on the screen, I'm in. I just I just got the chills. I love coaching that much. So I don't know if I could ever give it up. But anyway, but now we're doing the podcast too. We're planning on potentially, maybe you could let us know what you want from that podcast. Because whatever you tell us is what my daughter reads everything you send us about that podcast. Not necessarily, we don't see all the comments, but she does look at DMs, or you can email us through the website. And she's got all sorts of stuff on here. I don't know anything about all this stuff. But anyway, so you tell us what you want from that podcast. We are considering doing coaching on the podcast for free, obviously, but you've got to be willing to thousands of people listening to it. So if you want that, you can let us know. We're looking into that, because I'm at my best when I'm coaching someone back and forth, right? That's when the best stuff comes out in coaching. So I would love to be able to share that with more people. And if we had someone back and forth on the podcast, you would see more, the more gritty stuff where I really can get zero in on their specific problems, because I can ask a lot of questions back and forth. So anyway, let us know what you want on that podcast, because it's for you. It's not for us. It's for you. How do you work with an 18-month-old that still needs to be rocked to sleep and can't fall asleep in any other way? Generally can't soothe himself at all. Okay, he's really little still. He's just coming out of the baby stuff. So I would sit in a chair beside his crib, and I would give him my arm through the crib. And I would just be sitting there like I'm falling asleep. You could be rubbing his back. If he's screaming, that's okay. It's okay. You can be rubbing his leg. So you're still sort of soothing him. You're right there, but don't talk to him or look at him. You're just kind of like this. You might be humming. You might be singing quietly to yourself. Very soothing, very comforting, but you're not holding him. You just give him an arm, but you're right there. You can give that a go. That's negligible. What I mean by that is, I don't know if you want to do that. It's just an idea. I got a million ideas, but that's the most common one with that age. Yeah, I know you do. This is Miss Morgan Miner. We all join in one clump on Instagram because we get notified that you're live. Instagram is the only one that must do that all at once to everybody, because everywhere else they filter in over a few minutes. But on Instagram, everyone clumps in at the exact same time. It's just weird. But why is it different from TikTok? And we'll see if TikTok is taken away from the United States. I'm curious. I'm very curious if that's going to happen or not. I hope not. TikTok's my biggest platform, but still, people just go everywhere else then instead. And I love TikTok. 5-year-old challenges everything I say to her how to stop that. You have taught her how to do that. If she challenges you, that means you must be answering her. But why do you do that? I would just say, oh, well, who knows? If she's challenging your authority when you know you've done something correctly, when you're disciplining, do you know what I'm saying? When you're following through with the right thing, you're a leader, you're not an authority, but your authority during the discipline, if she's questioning that, she already knows. She's manipulating you. You've taught her to do that. They don't argue with someone unless you've taught them how to do that. They just don't. Like if a kid if I said, okay, here's the rule, you broke the rule, here's the consequence, and there you go. But that's not fair, because I would go, well, you'll know next time, won't you? There's no way I would explain myself. There's no way. No way. Not fair, not fair. Oh, well, crazy mom. You see? They can't argue with me. It's impossible. But I didn't know. I forgot. Well, you'll know next time, won't you? It's a learned behavior. It's not something they're born to do. I've worked with hundreds of kids, teenagers, and none of them, they might try initially when they first meet me, but after that, they never argue with me. Why not? Is it them or is it me? Do they go home and argue with their parents? I'm sure they do. So it's never the kid. It's always the leader or lack of leadership. See what I'm saying? It's a learned behavior. A leader would never argue. How do I respond with a 3-year-old saying, just do it when asking for something? Say, nope. What? Just do it. Nope. That's all I would say. Just do it. Just do it. They could scream the roof off. One nope is all I would give them. Nope. And then I'd go about my business. I wouldn't keep looking at them. That's still attention. I would just go about my business, washing the dishes, mopping the floor, whatever. Just do it. Nope. Nadine. Okay. Oh. Just a sec here. Let me just check something. Okay. 3-year-old crying in the middle of the night, get them or let them cry. I don't know why they're crying. Why are they waking up crying in the middle of the night? Did they just wake up and want to get up and play? I need to know why. Because they might be sick or something. Or do they just do it every single night because you go in there and talk to them and give them attention? I don't know. I would need to figure that out. Because I don't want to say just ignore them because... And are they crying in their bed or are they coming out of bed? Like, I don't quite understand what's going on there. Yeah, sorry, I can't answer you because it might be the wrong one depending on why they're crying. 2-year-old won't stay in his bed even if we're in the room with him. Okay, so he's in a bed, 2 years old. That's bedtime battles. Bedtime battles is one of the sections in both courses, actually. And it is how to get them to bed, then how to keep them there. Keeping them there is the hard part. That's the second part. So what you do is the first time you put them in bed, you say, I said it, or it's bedtime, stay in bed. And then you walk out of the room. When they come out the first time, you say, okay, stay in bed. That's it. Okay, so pardon me. You put them to bed and you say, okay, don't get out of bed. Good night. Love you. First time they get out of bed, you say, I said it's bedtime. Stay in bed. Second time they get out of bed, say one word, bedtime. Put them back in bed. Now, here's the hard part. Every time after that, you don't look at them or talk to them. You just carry them back to bed or rock them back to bed. Put them on the bed, might be kicking and screaming. One body part just has to touch that mattress, and then you walk away. The slower you do it, the better. You're not looking at them. You don't talk to them. Try not to look angry. You're calm as a cucumber. Just keep putting them back to bed, putting them back to bed, putting them out. The idea here is that you're bigger than them. It's a physical battle. You can win this. They're only 2. The longest I've ever heard of bedtime battles going on was, I think it was 4:30 in the morning. It went till about 4:30. Or was it 5? Anyway, it went all night. It was a much older kid, though, and went all night. That kid never got up again because the parents won that. They won it. They said it was hell, and they were cursing me out all night, but they won. Okay. How to teach a toddler about dangerous items like a hot stove or fire. They don't understand. You can teach them anything, and they'll go, yes, I understand that's hot. They'll still do it because they don't have the sense of reasoning. They'll forget. Impulses take over from reasoning with a toddler. That's why they're so dangerous. They know it's hot and they shouldn't touch it, but they can't control themselves like a 3-year-old or an older kid can. That's when that frontal lobe or whatever it's called, frontal cortex is starting to develop. That is the sense of being able to reason things out, which means they can stop and think before they act. A 2-year-old is not always able to do that. They might be able to, but I wouldn't trust them. Oh, you can light a fire. They know it's hot. They still might run through it if they're goofing around, you see? So yeah, you can try to teach them, but just have to basically keep them away from it. Child-proof your home is what I did. Okay, this is a good one because it comes up a lot. When 3-year-old doesn't get his way, he starts saying things like, you don't love me, or I'm not the best son. Yeah, you just say, whatever. Alrighty then. Yeah, just ignore it. It's pure manipulation. When they start stuff like that, because you know why? You've taught him to do that. Because he thinks, I can't just scream and cry because I'm going to get ignored. But if I say nobody loves me, I hate myself, then I'll get attention. If they say it during a tantrum or during anger, it's pure manipulation. Now, if you're at Disneyland and they say it when you're going around on the Dumbo ride, then I would worry. Nobody loves me. What? What are you talking about? Let's discuss this. But if it's just when they're angry, manipulation. Some people will say, oh, you know, my sister's a child psychologist. She says children aren't able to manipulate. That is bull. A lot of my clients are child psychologists. So parenting is different from everything else. I can't do their job, by the way, and they struggle with parenting. But yeah, it's absolute bull. It's one of the first things that they learn is how to manipulate. In other words, how to get their own way. Do whatever necessary to get their own way. They're watching you like a hawk. And even a baby will be watching you. Like when they're about 10 or 12 months old, they're starting to figure it all out. They're starting to figure out how to get you, right? So manipulation is very, very doable with a little one. How do you handle whining? Check out my latest podcast. It's one of the most popular ones we've ever done. It just came out. When did it come? Yesterday. It's called How to Stop Kids from Whining. It's a whole thing. Check that out. It's BratBusters Parenting Podcast. So that one was super popular. I've even had clients telling me today. I had one, and then someone else wrote about it. So they said, oh, it was the best podcast, the one on whining. So I can't synopsize it very well right here. So you're better off just listening to the podcast. And my podcasts are on YouTube if you want to watch my daughter and I. It's a mother-daughter dynamic too, which is quite interesting. We know each other inside out, but she doesn't know, like she sees the way I parented from the kid perspective. So it's quite interesting. We've learned a lot about each other. So I didn't know she realized that or thought about, I didn't always know what she was thinking or how she was thinking, but looking back as an adult, looking back on stuff, she can, because we don't talk about that very much when she was 3 or 4, but during the podcast we will. It's quite interesting. Can you help a mom who is divorced and dad is not supportive with co-parenting? She has 13-year-old boys that don't listen. We are starting to be violent. That would be coaching. I can't answer that here. That's a big problem. That's a big solution too. So yeah, that would be one-on-one coaching. If it sounds like it's a friend or something, that would be one-on-one coaching with me. And we don't worry about the other home. We only do what we do. I don't focus on the other home. Do you know what often happens though, is when I'm working with one parent, I'll try and get the ex in on it too. You can share your sessions with them, or you can just give them a session. And because I'm on the kids' side, basically, they're my first priority. I don't pick sides or anything. I just want to get you on the same page, or I want you to co-parent peacefully. That's always my goal. I mean, we divorced. We never had an issue, never argued or anything. So, and the kids said, well, really, it didn't affect them. I mean, it was a bit scary at first, right? Because you hear all the horror stories, but we never fought. We still turned up everywhere together in that. So, and we still do. We still spend Christmas together in that. No issues. So they don't care if you're together so much as they care that you get along. So that's always my goal with parents who are divorced. And they don't have to parent the same way. There's nothing wrong with parenting differently, but it's nice if you can support each other. That's all. How to respond, approach the mind phase, just saying, no, it isn't, and take it away if you have to. Don't do these mini therapy sessions. Well, no, it's not yours. You have to share it to a 2-year-old. It's ridiculous. Yeah, just say, if you're trying to take something away and they say mine, just say, no, it isn't, and take it and put it away. Let them have the fit. Let them walk through the tantrum. Let them get it out of their system. Every tantrum is followed by a lesson. 2-year-old tantrums in a restaurant, you completely ignore a tantrum, but I would take them out in the parking lot first and then let them scream it out there. I would never put a restaurant through that. I think that's rude. So yeah, I would pick the kid up and take them out in the parking lot or in the car and let them tantrum there. Then I'd be filing my nails, just waiting for it to end. Oh, y'all done? Okay, let's go back in. They start up again, take them out again. You don't look at them or talk to them while they're tantruming. Do you do any coaching for potty training? I have a 24-month-old and curious about your thoughts on it. You can hire me for coaching, but it's in the course. It's in both courses, the boot camp courses, if you're interested. We just added it to the 3 to 12-year-old one because a lot of kids who are 3 aren't potty trained yet. It's a little bit different. You might have to make a few adjustments because of their age, but I'll let you decide how you do that. But yeah, 24-month-old. Yeah, I potty trained both my kids at 2.5. And my son was 1 day, my daughter was 2. And it's called a potty party. It's a whole party. I should get up and show you the book. It actually was a book years and years ago. It's not that interesting. I'd have to walk over there and get it out. It sounds like a lot of work. Some consequences you can give a 2-year-old for doing things like climbing tables and throwing toys. You don't do consequences with toddlers. Toddlers under the age of 3. You do consistent corrective actions. They will eventually learn. It's exhausting. These are my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Number 1, child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2, set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Number 3, when you want to connect with a toddler, you do so in their world, not your world. You don't take them to the nail salon or the cafe. You go to the park and roll down the hill with them. Number 4 is when you want to discipline a toddler, it's similar. You do so in their world. They're all about actions. They're watching you. They're not listening to you. They might listen, yes, mommy, and go like this. They're going to turn around and do the exact same thing again, guaranteed, because they're not listening. Okay, well, not guaranteed, but I exaggerate everything. So yeah, you discipline with using consistent corrective actions, and it's a slow burn. Might take 50 times. But these words, they're just empty to them. They're going to be parroting you. Yes, mommy, I know it's mean. I know I shouldn't do that. Yeah. In one ear, out the other. There's no brain in there to stop it because they're just one marble and some tumbleweed at 2. Okay. Number 5, stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure-outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. Imagine if you've only been in the world for 2 years. In the first year, you were a potato laying on a mattress. Like, just, get some perspective. They're tiny. They're just forming. They've hardly been here. People tend to expect too much from toddlers and not enough from teenagers. What I mean by not enough from teenagers is you have to allow them to make some mistakes and learn from them. And you have to allow them to have a say in how their life goes. I'm going to read out my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. They're my favorite age, by the way, teenagers. This is teenagers. Number 1, listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number 2 is you negotiate as much as possible with the teenager. You say, hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? Reciprocity. Give respect to get it. Number 3, don't sweat the small stuff with teenagers. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? And laugh it off. Or do you want to hear what I did yesterday? And laugh it off. We all make mistakes. That's okay. People tend to, they're just really critical of their teenagers all the time. You made mistakes when you were a teenager. I'm sure you did. Number 4, don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. I won't elaborate on that one. I tend to go on about it too much. And number 5, with teenagers, and this is with any adult relationship too, you can either be a right fighter or you can be happy. Can't be both with a teenager, or really anybody, unless you're domineering and bossy. You can either be a right fighter or you and those around you can be happy. Right fighting is not a desirable attribute. I used to be a right fighter. I'm not at all anymore. I realized it was pretty stupid. I'm very good with words and thought I was clever. Now I realize that was just stupid. I'm old. I get it now. That's wisdom. You can't get wisdom until you're old. You got to get the wrinkles to go with it, right? Doesn't mean I'm smarter. I've learned through life. I haven't dug my heels in my way or the highway. I'm always susceptible to new ideas, new ways of thinking. I very much have a learner mentality. And I'm always trying to learn and, improve my life, improve myself. And I really encourage my kids to do that too, is you never want to stop learning. So I don't like to dig my heels in. And whenever I say, oh God, I would never do that, I hate that, I'm extremely impressionable. If someone in my circle says, give it a go, you'd probably like it. Oh, okay. I have no dignity, none of that. So yeah, no shame. I'm very open-minded actually. You're missing out on life if you're not. If you're a right fighter, it means you're closed-minded, my way or the highway. And it's not the best way to go through life. Curiosity is like, you look at like Steve Jobs and that Virgin guy, the English guy, they're all like, they have a sense of wonder, this curiosity. I have a lot of that. I don't have as much as them probably, but I have a lot of that too. You always want to be curious with life and learning and having kids. I always thought if I'm not learning from my children, I'm missing out, because they, especially teenagers, that's why they're my favorite age. Their brain power is way stronger than mine. I have the wisdom and the experience, but sometimes that can cloud your thinking. They don't have that yet. When they see something, they see it from a pure different perspective. So if you're not learning from your teenagers and letting them know that you are, which is part of the relationship, right? It's give and take and all that stuff. So yeah, teenagers are great. You know, it's not that they're difficult, which I know a lot of people think they are. It's that you just haven't learned how to have a good relationship with them. Because they are fantastic. They're by far my favorite age. It's teenagers. By far. Not necessarily the age I had the most fun with, if that makes any sense. Because when they were little, they wanted to be around me all the time. And it was just, I was the goofy, fun mom. It was tons of fun. When they're teenagers, they don't want to hang out with mom all the time anymore. So it wasn't necessarily the most fun time with my kids, but it was my favorite age, if that makes any sense. Gee, I went on a tangent there, didn't I? Okay. How to get control over my dramatic and over-emotional 7-year-old boy. When you're a leader, it calms them right down. They're feeding off your energy, basically. So you need to just control yourself, and then he will get control of himself. You don't control anyone else. But when you're calm, when they have a calm leader, it calms them right down. They feel safe. They feel heard. They feel like they can be themselves. They can tell you anything. So that calms them down. You're a safe place to land, basically. That's what a leader is. Safe place to land. They can tell you anything. So I'm going to scroll ahead to make sure you're still here when I answer. I learned a couple of years ago, I thought, I only have like 150 people in the live, but people come and go. So when I go out of the live, turns out there might have been 5,000 people coming and going, because people come and go in these lives. What do you think of the most difficult age during the toddler years? Oh, just toddlers overall. Yeah, because they're all feet, no brains. Once they're up and walking, or once they're mobile, without brain cells really yet, they're just forming, right? They don't know danger. They just don't get it yet. And that to me is when they first get their mobility and the brain cells haven't kicked in yet. That I found really difficult, because I was always worried, I'm a worrier. Okay, 17-month-old bangs his head when he's mad. Yeah, they all do that, or a lot of them do. When they have tantrums, they do that. If they're that way inclined, they're either going to have tantrums or they're never going to have them. My son had them. He wasn't a headbanger though, but he did have tantrums. Or else they just don't. There's 4 things they're either born to do. It's in their DNA. They're wired for it, or they're never going to do it. If they're born with these tendencies. One is tantrums. One is running. One is climbing, and the other one is shoot. I forgot. Help me out here. What's the other one? Oh, that's the one I always forget. What's the 4th one? Oh, aggressiveness. They either hit or they're never going to hit. There you go. Why do I keep forgetting that one? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, if they're banging their head, you just physically restrain them. If they're hurting themselves, hurting someone else, or damaging property when they're little, you physically restrain them. But you don't talk to them or look at them. You just hold them, because no, they're not listening to anything anyway, and words don't work. It's all actions when they're little. So you just hold them down. You don't pick them up and cuddle them or anything. You just hold them down on the floor, like you're holding them here, and they're standing up, or they might be sitting down. So you're just holding them and preventing them from banging their heads. You can go one step further. Sometimes I get clients who say they bang their head all the time. Like they just, every time you say no or look at them the wrong way, they do it because they get attention, you see. So there are these, I can't recommend any because I don't know how safe they are, but I would strongly suggest if you do get this, you supervise it constantly. You never leave them alone with this. There's foam helmets you can buy for kids, and they're like quite, like they go around here and everything. They were invented for kids who have seizures and stuff like that. So they're foam and they're soft, and you can try that. And every time they start banging their head, you put the helmet on. It's amazing how fast they learn. If I bang my head, I get that horrible helmet on my head. They hate that thing. So yeah, you can, if you want to go there, you can go there. But clients have said that it works like a charm. Actually, it's super effective, which I wouldn't have thought so. But I always say it takes them 50 times to learn something, right? But that helmet, it often is just once. They go to bang their head and then you hold the helmet and then, oops. Do you have any courses on picky eating, food refusal for 4-year-old? The reason I don't is I'm not a nutritionist or a doctor, so I can't, it's more of a medical thing, right? But what I do tell you is what I did with my kids. So, but I'm not saying you should do it. I'm just telling you a story. So what I did with my kids, and it's kind of radical in most people's minds, but I never had any junk food in the house when my kids were little and growing up, like none. There was no ice cream or chips or anything. I didn't even like juice because it's like too sugary. So anyway, I just had healthy food in the house and I made everything from scratch. So I cooked around their taste buds. If I knew they liked macaroni and cheese, you can just guarantee there was a whole bunch of pureed vegetables smashed in with that stuff. So I was very good at because I made everything from scratch, even bread, and all the cakes, cookies that we ate. They were all like dust balls, I guess. They were just healthy things. But yeah, I made everything from scratch. And yeah, so see, it's kind of radical. No one else is going to want to do that. So I did cook around their taste buds, but I was very good at hiding healthy stuff. Like I remember the first time my son had pizza when he went out somewhere and he came home, he was little. He said, Mommy, the sauce was really weird. It was red because my sauce was brown. It had pureed spinach in it. He thought pizza sauce was brown. Isn't that cute? Okay. Okay. Melanie, okay, I'm going to kind of switch this up a little bit. She's from Adelaide. Hello, Melanie. I never made it down there. I lived up in Sydney and Brisbane. In Australia, how can I stop my 5-year-old daughter from losing control and hitting me full-blown rage when told to stop doing something? You can't stop a child from doing anything. All you can do is control yourself as a leader and deal with it effectively, and they will teach themselves to stop. In other words, that's never going to work. She's never going to get her own way, and she's also never going to make you angry. If you show anger or fear or frustration at a blow up, they just won. They just won. They know it instinctively. If you get angry, they won. If the kid's having a fit around me, I'm just like, all righty, I'm just waiting for it to stop. If they're older, how old? 5? Oh, she's still really young. Yeah. She's absolutely having a fit. I might look over at her while she's doing that and be like this. And then when she stops, I might say, okay, I'm going to go bake a cake now. Do you want to join me? Or I'm going to go read a book. Do you want to join me? Like, in other words, that meant nothing to me. Didn't affect me in the least. Let her get it out of her system. Look at it like a purge. She's purging. Let them get it out of their system. You can't prevent the scenes. Everyone wants the rainbow. You can't get a rainbow without a storm. Everyone wants to avoid the storms. The storms are the lessons. That's the gold. Every storm is you're one step closer to leadership, as long as you're calm during it, right? So like that 8-year-old kid who said to me, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit. And I said, bring it on. And he never did. You could see him process me like that. I could see it. He went like, oh, she knows what she's doing. He would have had a fit with anyone else, I'm sure, or someone else. And then the teacher asked me later, how did you handle him? He was a handful. She said, how did you handle him? And I said, oh, I just asked him to have a fit. He was good as gold with me. He knew I wasn't going to react and take any crap. So it didn't bother me at all. I was kind of disappointed he didn't have a fit, because if he did, it's like, oh, this is my opportunity to exercise my leadership. Every fit, scene, meltdown, tantrum is an opportunity to exercise your leadership by showing it doesn't bother you. Like, it's never going to work. They only do what works. Past the age of 4, they only do what works. If they're still having tantrums after 4 years old, it's because you're feeding it. Oops, I got to go over to, it's getting late. I got to do something. Anyway, I'm going to go over to TikTok now, and I'm on YouTube the whole time. So I'll still be on there if you want to join me over there. So thanks so much for watching. Check out BratBusters.com. You can get my free behavior board, my courses, one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds, or you can look into coaching and check out our podcast. My daughter and I do that together. We do 2 a week now. That's why I'm not doing my regularly scheduled lives anymore. I'm just popping up when I can. and when I've got time. So, but yeah, the podcast has taken off, and thanks so much for your support. Let us know what you want to hear next. We're always asking for your feedback on what you want us to talk about on the podcast. We are looking into bringing parents on the podcast, potentially doing a whole coaching session just with a parent. And it would all be free, of course, if you're on the podcast, because it would go out, be public, right? So probably wouldn't be willing to do crisis work on there because I think that's so personal. I do a lot of crisis work, especially with teenagers. So I probably wouldn't want to do that. But anyway, okay, so something's buzzing. Anyway, so I'm going over to TikTok now. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye now. Oh, shoot. I'm going to sneeze. Just a second. I'm on the wrong channel, too. I have a private channel, too. Ooh, almost at 750,000 on TikTok. 749.3. I don't look at numbers very often anymore. Good morning. Where are you, Michaela? If it's morning for you, it is 7 o'clock at night here. I lived in Australia for about 20 years, so I was used to having to adjust the time. Okay, we're just waiting for people to tune in on TikTok. Okay, what can I do first time my 3-year-old does something he's not supposed to and doesn't know yet? Yeah, you start the leadership on your own. Don't wait to react to him. With toddlers, you react to them. You're not teaching them stuff ahead of time. You're reacting to what they do. Okay, but with 3 and over, they can stop and think before they act. Get the free behavior board and start there. So you put a rule, pick a rule. No hitting is a common one if you're just starting and they hit. So put a rule down there, check it out. It's a whole mini course. It's completely free. And just go to BratBusters.com and you can get that. You have to sign up for that. It's like a third-party delivery system because did you know it's against the law to connect emails and send out newsletters without authorization? You have to go through, you have to join, you have to do, it's illegal to just collect emails and then send out mass emails. I don't know how many thousands of people we have on our email list. I haven't got a clue. But yeah, you have to jump through a few hoops to get on the newsletter. And that's where the behavior board is. So check that out. So you're taking control right away. You're setting out rules and boundaries. Like the school doesn't open up in September and let the kids decide what time they're going to start. They start with here's the rules, here's the boundaries, right? The leaders organize all that. I missed you. Oh, thanks so much for that. Yeah, I haven't been around much lately with Christmas and New Year's and all that. It's just been a weird time, but I've still been coaching. I took 2 days off. I took Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off. That's the first time I've taken 2 days, and I still look at emails. I must admit, don't answer any, but I looked at them just in case. Because if I have a client in crisis, I still want to know, even on Christmas Day, if something's happened. So, but virtually I didn't work for Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. And then Boxing Day, I was right back to work again. So, but wow, 2 days in a row, I didn't work. First time in years. So it was mind-boggling. And then I was all rusty when I came back because I'm not used to not working every day. I work every day, like 7 days a week. But, I don't coach on Sundays. It's not like I'm working 12 hours a day every day. Okay, this is a good question. It's Michaela. What age should I let my kids decide her own outfit? I have no style. It's killing me. Well, I don't know how old she is. How old is she? Like, if it's no issue, I would let them choose. But if they're going to fight over clothes, then I would choose until they're about maybe 9. When they hit the tween or preteen, 9 to 12 is a tween or preteen. But before that, if clothes are an issue and they're fighting over them, I would ask their opinion. What do you like to wear? But then once they've got the wardrobe that they've agreed to, sort of thing, then you can just pick it. But if it's no battle, just let them pick whatever they want. I've had clients who get their knickers in a knot. It's a clothing conversation. So get their knickers in a knot when their kids don't look perfect when they go out. Maybe dads dress them or, something like that. Or the kids have picked out something they don't like. And I'm like, let it go. That's sweating the small stuff. Unless it's somewhere important. Okay, welcome to my live. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. I'm also a mom and a grandmother. If you check out BratBusters.com, you can get my free behavior board, my courses, one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds, or you can look into personal coaching with me one-on-one. There's a wait list for that though, but I'll get to you eventually. Or you can listen to our podcast. My daughter and I do the podcast together. She works with me full time. So she's in charge of she does all the marketing and all the planning. She basically tells me what to do and I do it. I'm the product. She's the push behind it. I never really thought of myself as a product, but that's what I am. It was interesting because I saw some business diagram and they said the person out front, I do run the business, by the way. It is my company. But she does all the planning and all the marketing. But there was this funny thing, and it was this: someone was pushing out this man or something, and the man was just the front for the business, and he just talked. He had the information, but then they brought him back, and they put him down in this like coffin kind of thing. He went to sleep, and there was all these other people running the business. It struck me as funny. It's not quite like that with us, but it struck me as funny. Okay. Reading these comments, and all of us moms are just trying to survive. Parenting is the hardest job in the world with the least amount of training, and yet you expect so much from yourselves. I don't understand that. I don't understand why you're so hard on yourselves. Just go, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm going to go figure it out. So parenting, the thing is, there's this old fallacy that parenting should come naturally. About 100 years ago, that was true for two reasons. One is there was a village helping you out. There was a whole neighborhood. You were home with the kids all day. You had multi-generational households. And number two is parents didn't care how they parented. They weren't worried about it. They would just swat the kids and send them out in the street to play all day. Like they weren't worried about it. It was very black and white how you parent. They do something wrong, you spank them, or you take away their dessert that night, or it was so clean cut, but parents weren't concerned with how they were parenting. So yeah, but nowadays it's all different. It's completely, and you're not a village anymore. You're very isolated in parenting. I would say nowadays parenting can be very lonely. I can remember my husband at the time worked long hours and he traveled a fair amount, and I had no family. I was new to Australia and I had no family. It was pretty lonely. I was in search of other moms, and I joined baby groups, all these mom groups. I joined the gym. So I was out and about all the time, because as much as I love being a mother, I still missed having adult conversations, right? And the funny thing is that when I did have all my friends, what did we talk about? Poop and pee and what you feed them, what the best toys are. All we did was talk about the kids because they were our whole lives, right? But yeah, it was just fun to talk to an adult. But yeah, parents are very isolated these days. And that's why I'm here too. I want you to realize you're not alone. And sometimes I'll get a new client and they'll say, well, this is really embarrassing. Not usually, but they'll sometimes say, oh, this is really embarrassing. I can't believe it. And then I'll just laugh. It'll be something that they say, my kid actually does this. And I'll laugh. And they say, what are you laughing at? I said, yeah, I had 2 clients earlier today that had the exact same problem. Really? Yeah. I can't believe how you think you're the only one going through this. Like, are you just looking at these pretty, perfect moms that put up this front on Instagram? By the way, some of those have hired me. I would never say who it is, but some of the perfect moms on Instagram, the image is nothing like what you see behind the scenes. So yeah, look up funny mom fails or funny parenting fails. You'll feel like $1 million about yourself. Okay? It's funny. Life's messy. Parenting's messy. Kids are messy, right? And my way isn't necessarily the only way. It's just I know it works with most. Well, obviously, I wouldn't be teaching it if I wasn't confident in this. But, if I don't resonate with you, follow someone else who does. Although I would look for these qualifications. They have to have finished I've actually added a third one. I used to just have these 2. They have to have finished the job with their own. If you're going to take advice from someone about parenting, they have to have finished the job with their own kids. So have they raised adults who are functioning and all that sort of stuff? Number 2 is if they had experience with hundreds of other kids. How could you possibly teach parenting if you've only raised your own? I've worked with hundreds of kids and teenagers and toddlers, and I've seen it a lot. I was going to say I've seen it all, probably haven't, but I've seen a lot. I've added this third one. Did they find parenting easy or did they struggle? If they struggled through parenting, why would you take advice from them? It doesn't make any sense. You want to talk to someone who wallowed in it and had fun doing it like I did, right? Why would you take advice from someone who is struggling with parenting or has struggled with parenting? I don't understand that. I'm sure there's lots of other old people like me out there who found parenting a total joy and is happy to share their information. Yeah. And taking advice from someone who just has young children is like taking financial advice from someone with $10 in the bank. I just don't want you to be sent awry. It's experience-based. I have, if you want to teach parenting, I do get this quite often. People want to learn to do what I do, but I'm old. I've been doing this for 50 plus years, right? Like working with kids. So if you're going to teach something, I would suggest teach something very specific and niche, like bedtime, or maybe, I don't know, whatever, but teach something specific and niche and age appropriate. You have to have lived through it. The reason is parenting is personal. If you don't have personal experience, you can't teach it. It's personal. It's not like any other relationship. A huge portion of my clients are teachers, principals, and child psychologists because they don't have, I couldn't do their jobs, but they struggle with parenting. Parenting is unique. It's niche. It's very different. It's based on experience. So yeah, I'm sure there's lots of other people out there teaching it who have tons of experience too. So if I don't resonate with you, search out someone who is also very experience-based. Otherwise, you might be sent astray. And you might have to hire me to fix what they've done, what they've sent, how they've sent you astray. I get that a lot. My mom was a great stay-at-home mom to 3 kids. She made it look so easy. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I loved it, actually. It was a really wonderful time. But I'm lousy at a lot of other stuff. You know, we all have certain talents. You know what I mean? Like I started volunteering in daycare centers when I was 11 years old. And even then the daycare workers used to ask me, how do you do that? You're goofy. And yet they listen to you. So I was a leader back then. I was 11. And I also was babysitting in the neighborhood at 11. I just was motherly. I just had that in me, but I was very goofy with kids too. So yeah. Okay. But yeah, you are not alone. If you think you're the only one going through hell with your kids, and I've had lots of clients who've said, if we knew then what we know now, we never would have had kids. I have heard that quite often. And they're upset when they say it. They say, I love my kids, but they put us through hell. So you're not alone. Okay. Someone said, yeah, I hope it's better than the one where Lisa picked Amy and made the gym performance. Oh, God. Are you talking about the ribbon routine? Is that right, Michaela? If so, I'll tell the story because it makes me look so bad as a mother. I made a big mistake once. Is that what you're talking about? If not, I won't. We don't know yet. Waiting, they're going to tell it the podcast. Oh, that was another thing. Oh, right. That was something else that Amy said, we'll talk about that in another podcast. We've got another dilly that came out the other day between the two of us, mother and daughter. We do the podcast together. She works with me. Well, I should tell the ribbon routine now that I said, I want you to realize that parenting's messy. We all make mistakes, including me, of course. I mean, life is, you never want to look like you're perfect at anything in life. That's not a likable quality and it's not realistic. So I'm quite happy to make mistakes. I was always in trouble with my kids. I was always saying, yeah, I'll get to that. And then I'd forget. And of course I'd get in trouble because I promised I'd do something and I'd forgotten. So it's a matter of just doing your best, but also I was a very good leader. I was very good at bringing out the best in them, but I was accountable. I made a lot of mistakes that I had to pay for. I never yelled or anything, but it was usually I'd promise to do something. Yeah, I said I'll make muffins. I'll do them tonight. I promised. Do you promise, Mom? Yes, I promise. Sure enough, I'd forget. And they'd come to me the next day. I don't see no muffins. I'd say, shoot, what do you want? We'd love to go to the water slide park after school today. I'd say, fine, we'll go. Anyway, I'm going to tell you this story. It's awful. It makes me look horrible. I just cringe every time I think about it. Anyway, my daughter was about 15, 16. She had a part-time job and I used to go pick her up. She worked in a gymnastics place. and she was cleaning up. And I won't tell you the whole story because it's so embarrassing. Anyway, I'm really goofy. It's just my basic personality. I don't have much dignity or anything. I'm very humor driven. My mom used to say, if you're always searching out a laugh, like I just am. It's just my personality. Okay. So I'm trying to defend myself before I even told the story because it's so awful. Anyway, it was a gymnastics place. So I'm sitting, it was cold outside. So rather than sit in the car, I went inside. And I'm sitting there and I'm just sitting on these bleachers or something. And she's cleaning up with the other people who work there. They're all young people. Now she's 15. Nowadays, like she's 30, she just would have said, cut it out, Mom. But at 15, it was embarrassing. You know what I saw sitting in this room? I saw a stick with a ribbon on it. The ribbon routine stuff. Oh, God, it's so embarrassed even when I think about it now. I picked it up. Now, I wouldn't be embarrassed in front of anyone else. I'm embarrassed because of how much I humiliated my daughter. That's why it's embarrassing. I have no pride. I don't care what I look like. But I picked it up, having no training in any kind of gymnastics, no dance training, no ribbon routine. I did a full routine while they're all cleaning, and I'm doing and this thing's a long ribbon. It like swirls, like it's really cool. I'm doing it between my legs. I'm doing it around my head. It's choking me. I'm laughing and pulling it off. I didn't realize while I was doing that, they're all like this. They all stop mopping and everything. They're all like this. And my daughter is steaming mad. And as soon as I stopped my ribbon routine, you couldn't even call it a routine, my ribbon doofus act. As soon as I finished, I realized what I'd done. So I was banished to the car waiting for her after that. I was never allowed in that gym ever again. And I had to do something big for her after that. So I make amends, right? But we still cringe every time we talk about that. It was so awful because when they were little, they laughed at everything. All their friends laughed. And I'd already raised another kid. He was an adult at this time. You'd think I would have learned because I'd already raised a kid, but he wouldn't have cared. He would have just said, yeah, that's just my mother. She was just different. That upset her. So yeah, pretty embarrassing, eh? It's an awesome story. Amy laughing about it now. Yeah, sort of, but sort of laughing, but more like, yeah, that was funny. You can still see it. Oh, I know what story we were going to tell. The carpet story. Ooh, the carpet story. That's such a good one. That doesn't even make me look bad. Okay, that's a really good one. I'd forgotten all about that. She brought that up. So I'm going to remind her if she forgets. She probably won't. She's very organized. Carpet story for next podcast. We haven't told it yet, and we film the podcasts ahead of time. So I don't know when it'll come out. Yeah, that's a really good story. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that. Okay, so let's get back into it here. Okay, you got a 3-year-old struggling with bedtime and saying he's scared. Tips, not sure if he's scared of putting it. Okay, what I did with my kids, and they were genuinely nervous at one point. I think it was my son. I can't remember which kid was really, I guess I think he saw something or saw it in a book that there was a monster under a bed at one point. So anyway, I said, I'll tell you what. Now I was already a leader. So when I said this, he believed me. I said, I'll tell you what, monsters are terrified of me. If I go looking for a monster, they will never come back. So I went under the bed and I said, no monsters here. Went in all the drawers. I made a big production out of it. Nope, no monsters here. This is how terrible I was. I never teased my daughter. She didn't like it. And my son, he was like me. We like being teased. So, and then I opened up the closet door and I went, ah, no. And he went, what? And I said, oh, nothing. A hanger was backwards. Oh, Mom. Anyway, so I looked around, no monsters here. And he never had a problem after that because I'm the monster. Like I'm the monster proof person. So that's what I did. I made a big show out of there's nothing to be afraid of. And then he didn't need this, but what I recommend to parents is get a nightlight, get those galaxy lights, get a sound machine. You can even play soft music in the background or whatever on a machine. Something, just get anything that they find soothing. And then say, I'm right around the corner. I'm just over there. Okay. So anyway. The suspense. Yeah, the carpet story. I can't wait to tell that story because it doesn't even make me look bad. It's a really good one. Okay. But yeah, now I was already a leader. And even if you're not, it's another way to exercise your leadership, right? Like, look, they're terrible. And my kids believe me. Whatever I said, they believe me. They're terrified of me. Monsters always run when they see me coming. Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Okay, how do you deal with a toddler throwing food on the floor? You say no, throw it away, and then hand feed them. No, I do it. Okay, you're all done. Clean them up and put them down. Let them scream, have a fit 15 minutes later or something. Say, oh, you ready to try again? Put them up, give them a little bit of food. If they throw that, say no and hand feed them. Just keep doing it. And they'll eventually eat when they're hungry. But you got to win these battles. The more battles you win, the less battles there will be. If you avoid the battles, you're not a leader. You're running in fear, and they know it. Okay? Also, then the second part, parents often say, what if they like being hand-fed? Then you get slow and stupid. So let's say this is a spoon. So you get food on the spoon, and you go, here you go. Oh, shoot, I forgot to change the laundry over to the dryer. Oops, dropped it. Get slow and stupid. And then they're like this, and then they'll eventually feed themselves. That's the idea. But don't do it in an obvious way. Here you go. No, yes, no, yeah. You see what I mean? You just go, oh, I forgot to. Oh, right. Oops. You see? A stranger danger at an all-time high. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to go on about it. We might even do a podcast on that one day. It's a whole conversation, stranger danger. By the way, it's the people you know that you want to be worried about. It's the people, it's not the strangers that usually get. Never mind. I won't go on. I specialize in trauma and crisis work, so I've heard it all. So, I'm gonna have to go soon. Something that I heard. Oh no, I won't go on about it right now. Sorry, it's just too long. Anyway, I'm going to read this out. Something that I came up with. I coined this phrase. I couldn't think of how you said even that. But anyway, I coined this phrase recently, and it's a good one because, and I don't usually come up with very good phrases, but this one's a good one. It's you can't fight with a calm, loving person forever. So if you've got an older kid, especially a teenager, and you are calm and loving, you don't take crap though. There's a difference. You're calm and loving. They will stop fighting eventually. The older they are, the longer they'll fight. But you can't fight a calm, loving person forever. It's impossible. So that's why it's so important for you to take the high road and stay there. Stick to it. Let them join you. Too many parents are being dragged down to the low road with the kids, arguing, yelling, getting angry, rolling your eyes, all that stuff. You're being pulled down. You're letting them drag you down to the low road. You stay on that high road because they can't fight a calm, loving person forever. It's impossible. They'll eventually give in and they'll be calm and loving and they'll join you on the high road. But it takes time. Parents often get frustrated by how slow this all takes. And I said, well, you got a 13, 14-year-old. You've been parenting one way for 13, 14 years. You want to solve this in 1 week? It's going to take 3 to 6 months. The results will come after our session's finished. You'll see some results, but you got to keep doing it when they're older. You got to keep doing it over and over again. And yet I've had other clients with some kids, and it's the first session, they're getting great results. That's how hungry the kids were for this leadership stuff. Make this a video so I can save it. Yeah, it's all kind of on repeat. It's all my videos are full of all this stuff. And also the podcast is pretty good. So I got a lot of stuff out there. I've been doing, is it 2 years now or 3 years? I don't know. I think it's 2 years. I been running my business now for about 18 years. And about 3 years ago, my daughter said to me, Mom, you got to go on TikTok. She said, it's for you. It's just short form, casual. So I said, nah, for a whole year. I said, I don't have no interest, right? I had other stuff going on. And so I said, no, I'm not interested. And then one day I picked up my phone and I went in the bathroom and I'm talking to myself in the mirror while I'm filming it. And I'm shaking and it's horrible. And it took off. I blew up on TikTok just standing in my bathroom talking about parenting. I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely stunned. I'm going to be heartbroken if TikTok is taken away from the US. I have a real soft spot for it because that's where this social media, for me really took off, was on TikTok. And I was absolutely shocked. And I think part of it was because the timing is right. All that pleaser parent style that really had us by the nuts for the last 30, 40 years, it's just backfired. I remember 40 years ago when I first saw that coming, it started coming in with the participation awards. It's the stupidest thing in the world. Just turn up and you get an award. You're raising self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. It's that parents trying to make everything easy for their kids, trying to avoid the scenes, arguing with your kids. The thing is, those are the parents that are most likely to yell, because that stuff doesn't work. Kids can't respect a pleaser parent. You can have a really easy kid and you can do everything wrong and they'll turn out fine anyway. But generally they need some guidance, which is leadership. So, but yeah, anyway, I said, you watch. I said the next generations will be struggling with drugs, homelessness, depression. I just said it's going to be an epidemic. And because there's no guidance, there's no strength. You're not building kids with fortitude. Yeah, anyway. Participation awards. I had a column in the province about 20 years ago, and I wrote, there was an article in some paper, and it was, and I think it was in California, I don't remember, this is 20 years ago, and a mother was suing the school for not giving her child a participation award on sports day, right? That kid never even went to sports day, and the mom sued the school. Now, I think I wrote the article because she won the court case, because that's how woke it was. That's when all the woke stuff started. Which means, you don't have to do anything. You're just, awarded nothing for nothing. But yeah, it was so ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. Oh God, I got a lot of flack for that. And I love flack. Flack means I'm shaking things up, but people weren't really ready to hear that. They were just caught up in all this, this woke stuff. What are your qualifications? I have 0. I'm kid taught. I started volunteering in daycare centers when I was 11. And then I've worked with hundreds of teenagers and toddlers and I only worked with kids who were challenging. I became a behavior expert with kids, and I was going to be a child psychologist. Thank God I never did that, because I would have been under that umbrella. I can say anything I want because I'm just a mom and a coach, right? So yeah, I'm not under any umbrella, but I was going to become a child psychologist. I thought that's a natural thing for me, right? Because I was volunteering with kids and all that. So, but anyway, they kicked me out because I was asking too many questions, and the other students started asking me questions about kids. So yeah, I always kind of had a penchant for this, and it was always sort of my mission in life, and it was just my passion. And but yeah, thank God I never let anyone else tell me how to treat kids, because I figured it out. I let kids teach me. I never let anyone else teach me how to treat kids, ever. I've never read a book on kids or parenting, ever. I don't know anybody else out there who's teaching it. Kids taught me all this. Teenagers were the ones who said, you got to teach this stuff, Lisa. I'm kid taught. They were my best teachers. And I figured out, I was always trying to figure them out. I remember that. I remember I can literally think of any age, and I can sort of put myself where they are. I can literally do that because I've been studying kids for so many years and working with them. I can literally think, okay, 13, some are more advanced than others, but this and that. And then like 4, they're here because they only do what works past the age of 4. 3 years and 9 months is when they develop empathy, or they have the ability. I was studying them all the time. And there was a lot of things that were consistent with all those ages. And I saw it. Like it was fast. Kids are fascinating. You know why it's so fascinating to me? Because we were all there once. That's how we all developed. So it's not just that I was studying kids to understand kids. I was trying to figure myself out, adults out, the world out, where we're going, where we came from. That's where we were all formed. We're all formed in our childhood. The first 7 years is when your personality developed. And it's all done through observation, not listening. It's all done through observation. I've always said that. Kids are watching you. They're not listening to you. Well, they are, but they're learning. They're developing from watching you. So anyway, I find kids fascinating. Okay, husband and I disagree on parenting styles, what to do. Flip a coin and say, you're in charge for 3 weeks. I'll support you. And then if it doesn't work, then we'll try my way. It's the best way I've found. Okay, I got to get going. I got lots of stuff to do. Anyway, I got to go. Thanks so much for joining me. Check out BratBusters.com. You can see my free behavior board my courses, one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds. You can look into coaching. I do have a wait list, but I will get to you eventually. And you can listen to our podcast. My daughter and I do it together. We've got a big story coming up called The Carpet Story. I don't know when that's going to happen. We haven't filmed it yet. We just realized she brought it up the other day. So anyway, we're going to be telling that carpet story in the future podcast. It is a good one. It's actually better than my ribbon story because I don't look bad in it. My ribbon story, I look terrible. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me and happy parenting. Bye now.